So moving on to example 3. Examples 3 and 4 are probably more sophisticated, well, more difficult types of questions, still giving you the input. So you're given information on the current and the time, and you need to work out the amount of product. So let's look at example 3. A current of 5 amps, so I still given the current, was applied for 5 minutes, which is 300 seconds. I have woken up a little bit, so I can now do this in my head. Under SLC, standard lab condition, so one extra piece of information here. I wonder why. To an electrolytic cell, interesting, so this is not electroplating, it's just an electrolytic cell consisting of inert carbon electrodes, okay, dipped in 100 ml of 1.0 molar copper sulfate solution. So this is definitely not electroplating. I actually don't know what the product is looking at this cell. And then the question asks, determine the volume of any gas product. So you need to find volume of gas product. And this is where the SLC comes in. When you see gas and SLC and volume, you should think of either the universal gas equation, which is PV equal to nRT, or you can use the molar volume at SLC, which is so V over number of mole of gas equal to 24.5 liter for 1 mole. So this is the molar volume, or the ratio between number of mole of a gas and its volume at SLC. Now the main issue with this question, and the main difference between this question and the previous two examples, is that I don't know what the product is. So I can't even begin to write the half equation. Now, if you look at a question and you don't know the amount of product, or you don't know the identity of the product, that is the first thing that you need to work out before you do anything else. And hopefully you should be able to work out the product of electrolysis if I give you the electrode and the electrolyte and the condition by now. But I'm just gonna reformat this so I can fit the electrochemical series in. So you can draw the diagram out, but I don't think it's actually that necessary. So this is positive and that's negative, but I'm just going to draw it out for you. And then this is deep in a solution. So the electrodes are both inert, so they're not going to do anything. And there are 3 species present in the electrolyte: copper 2+, sulfate ion, which is actually a spectator ion, unless specified otherwise, and water, because this is a solution. And you're going to assume that you have enough voltage for every reaction to happen. So I'm going to highlight the species present on the electrochemical series. And at the cathode, so you're looking for the smallest z, so this is going to be between these two. So the reaction at the cathode is copper ion. It's going to be reduced to copper. And at the anode, 2H2O, it's going to produce O2 plus 4H plus 4 electrons. Okay, so that's the reaction at the cathode, and that's reaction at the anode. The question asks for the volume of any gas produced. So this is the only gas that I can see as the product. So this is going to be the substance that I need to find the volume of. So if the question doesn't tell you what the product is, you have to work out what the product is, and you still have to work out the half equation. Otherwise, you won't be able to establish a relationship between the number of mole of electrons and the number of mole of the product. But once I have the half equation, everything else should be easy. The rest of the question is very similar to example 1 and 2, is that I'm going to start by finding the charge. So current times time. I already forgot 5 and 5 minutes. So 5 amps times 300 seconds, so 1500 coulombs, and then from there I should be able to work out the number of mole of electrons using ratio. The unknown, this is the given, or what you already just calculate, and this is equivalent to 1 mole of electrons for every 96,500 coulombs, and then you can find the number of mole of electrons this way, times 1 over 96,500 Okay, just using the calculator here. Oh, I just did something weird. 5 times, give me a second, 86,500. So 0.0155 mole. I'm going to rewrite the half equation. Please always write the half equation and take your time when you determine the ratio between the electrons and the product, because people always make mistakes in this step. Well, I'm not going to worry about states because the question doesn't ask me to write an equation. I'm just really after the mole ratio. So the unknown, what you want to find is the number of mole oxygen using electrons. So it's the 1 to 4 ratio. So the number of mole of oxygen is going to be a quarter the number of mole of electrons. When you don't establish this ratio, people tend to make the mistake and actually multiply this by 4 instead of dividing it by 4. So you really want to be careful here. You want to do all of that work, finding the product, everything, and then make a mistake because you just couldn't be bothered writing one extra line, 0.003886 mole. And then I'm going to find the volume using this number of mole, 3886 over 24.5 liter. If you are wondering, you actually given this ratio in your data book. It's actually not 24.5, it's 24.8 because the SLC condition has changed. That's supposed to say 24.8, folks. Sorry about this. Maybe I haven't woken up enough to remember this. Over 1 mole. So the volume of oxygen is, do I have enough room? 0.003886, that's an 8, times 24.8. Okay. Let's go back to check sig fig. 2 sig fig. 5 minutes, yep. So 0.096 liter. And that's the final answer for example 3. And then we have example 4, which is very similar. 100 ml of an aqueous solution containing that and that has an electric current of 5 amps pass through it for a period of time. Inert electrodes are used. Determine the mass of any solid formed after the cell has been running for 3 minutes. So once again, this is not electroplating. Actually, I think it is electroplating, but you don't know what product is going to be formed. So you have to determine that first. You know the current is 5 amps, and you know the time is 3 minutes, or, well, I can't actually do math anymore. 180 seconds. I can't multiply 3 and 6. All right. If you're not sure, you can draw the cell out. I'm going to assume, oh yeah, they actually tell you inert electrodes are used. So really the only thing that may participate in the reaction would be the ions that and liquid that are present in the electrolyte. So the electrolyte has nickel nitrate, so nickel 2 plus, and nitrate ion, and Pb 2 plus, and more nitrate ions, and obviously water. So water, nickel ions, nickel, lead, water. What am I going to say? Yes, nitrate ion is a spectator ion, so you don't have to worry about it. Oh, I hope this is not going to get there. All right, so the reaction is going to be between water and Pb2 plus. You can write the half equation out. The one at the anode is 2H2O going to O2 plus 4H plus 4 electrons. You don't actually have to, but if you want more clarity, you could. And the equation at the cathode is going to be Pb2 plus 2 electrons going to Pb. So the question asks for the mass of any solid. So the solid, and it doesn't actually mean that the solid is going to stick onto the electrode, but the lead solid is going to be the product that we're after here. So I need to find the mass of Pb being produced. Again, the rest of the question is very similar to example 1 and 2, which you have hopefully have done it by now. So time is 180 seconds. So you need to find the current, which is, sorry, not the current, the charge, which is current times time. So 5 times is 900. And then from there, you should be able to work out the number of mole of electrons for 900 coulombs being supplied. Given that if I have 1 mole of electron is 96,500 coulombs. So the number of mole of electrons is 900 times 1 over 96,500, which is 0.00933 mole. Okay, so that's the first part. I'm going to rewrite the half equation, Pb2 plus 2 electrons going to Pb. So the number of mole of Pb, which is what I'm after, over the number of mole of electrons is a 1 to 2 ratio, which means that NPb is half the number of mole of electrons. So you have this number, 933, that's a 3, which is 0.00466 mole. And lastly, just find the mass. Pb is N times M. I think it's like 270 something is the molar mass of Pb. I can't find Pb. This happens every time. Oh, 207.2. 207.2. Sig fig, 3 sig fig. So 0.966 grams. Do not forget unit. That is example 4.